A man, 33, had been in a relationship with his fiancée, 31, for 5 years. They had grown up together on the same street, and their families were close. He lived in the house that his late mother had left him, and even though they didn't officially live together, his fiancée spent most of her time at his place. She still occasionally stayed with her parents, but for all intents and purposes, their relationship was strong, and they were making plans for a future together. Everything seemed perfect, and the man truly believed he had found the love of his life. He had never been in a relationship with anyone who came close to her, and after 5 years of dating, they had gotten engaged in October of the previous year. Life was good, or so he thought. One morning, the man decided to go for a walk to the local shops. Halfway through his walk, he realized he had forgotten his face mask, which had been mandated in shops due to the pandemic. Frustrated but resigned, he turned around and headed back home to grab it. When he walked in the door, he overheard his fiancée talking loudly on the phone in the living room. The conversation was about someone named David, and she said, "David will always be the love of my life." Upon hearing this, the man froze. David was her ex-boyfriend, someone she had dated for 2 years before their relationship ended a year before she and the man began dating. What made it worse was that David had been the one to end the relationship, not her. The man didn't know much about David, but hearing her say those words shattered him. Stunned, he grabbed his mask and left the house, his mind racing. He couldn't process what he had just heard. His fiancée, the woman he was going to marry, had just declared that her ex, whom she hadn't been with in 6 years, was the love of her life. He felt confused, hurt, and betrayed. He tried to calm down by going to the shops, but his thoughts spiraled. What if she still had feelings for David? And what if David came back into her life, would she leave him? The thought made him sick. He returned home, feeling ill and overwhelmed. Not knowing how to face her, he told her he was feeling sick and asked her to stay at her parents' house for a while. She left without suspecting anything was wrong. For the next few days, the man couldn't stop thinking about what he had overheard. He knew she hadn't technically done anything wrong, but the fact that she still harbored such strong feelings for her ex haunted him. He began to question everything about their relationship. Could he marry someone who wasn't fully in love with him? Could he handle being a second choice in her heart? After a few days of agonizing over it, he decided he needed to confront her. On Friday morning, she came over with food and supplies, thinking he was still sick. But the moment she walked in, she could sense that something was off. The atmosphere was tense, and his face was stern. He told her that he wasn't actually sick and explained that he had overheard her conversation about David. As soon as he mentioned David's name, her face went pale, and she began to tear up. Without saying anything, she ran to the bathroom and locked herself in, sobbing hysterically. Her reaction only heightened his suspicion. He started wondering if there was more to the story than what he had overheard. After 30 minutes of her crying in the bathroom, he demanded that she come out and tell him the truth. When she finally emerged, her face was blotchy from crying, and she looked defeated. What she said next shattered him completely. She confessed that David had re-entered her life 4 or 5 months ago, and they had been sleeping together once or twice a week ever since. The man was speechless. His fiancée, the woman he was planning to marry, had been cheating on him for months. The times she had told him she was staying with her parents were actually the times she was meeting David. After the fight, the man blocked his fiancée on all social media and tried to move on. He stayed with friends for the weekend, drinking heavily to numb the pain. But when he returned to his house on Monday morning, he noticed something strange. His fiancée had somehow let herself back into the house. She had made the bed, done the laundry, and even left a note. He couldn't bring himself to read it. The betrayal was still too fresh, and he didn't want to hear anything she had to say. Over the next few days, things only got worse. Someone keyed his car, scratching it from the wing mirror to the boot. He also started hearing rumors around town that he had physically abused his ex-fiancée, a lie that had